Hello and welcome to another classic guitar video. Tonight we're going to be continuing the work on that BC Rich NJ Series Warlock 7-string. And the reason why I didn't finish it the other night was because I went to Guitar Center to buy my pack of 7 strings, and coincidentally they were out of 7-string packs. And I didn't want to go traipsing all over town at 9 o'clock at night trying to find a set, so I got some today. And this is what we'll be using. And when I bought the pack of strings, because I talked to the same clerk girl, she gave me a t-shirt for making me wait for my string of my pack of strings. So I got this nifty Ernie Ball regular slinky t-shirt for free. So it's pretty cool. Actually, I have quite a few of these t-shirts. The t-shirts come in different packs according to whatever packs they make. You know, the super slinky, the regular slinky, the heavy bottom, etc. So they make ones for each of these shirts also. I happen to have each one of those shirts, so that's pretty cool. So I got the shirt and the strings. And tonight I'm also helping promote a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, Barado Guitars. He's local here in California, Southern California. He's a real nice guy. He is a premier luthier. He's made guitars for celebrities, a lot of famous people, so check him out on his website and Facebook. Barado Guitars, custom original handmade guitars, is a real great guy, real good friend of mine. So let's go ahead and get started on this BC Rich.
Memory loss. Memory loss? What are you talking about? I do not feel well. Request permission to be temporarily leave the duty site. Grounded.
Okay, so we got our strings. I'm gonna see if I can finish this guitar tonight. I'm definitely, like I keep mentioning, I'm in no rush to finish this guitar, even though I'm a day late in getting back to work on this guitar because I was trying to find the strings. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the Floyd Rose tremolo off, and then take it apart and then clean it and put it back into its default intonation setting. I think it's probably already at default. It looks pretty close to me, actually. So depending on how smooth it goes, I'll either finish this guitar tonight or I'll just continue it tomorrow night and carry it on to a third night. Again, like I said, this guitar is not a customer's and it's not going up for sale. It's one I'm keeping, so it doesn't make me in a rush to finish this guitar in one night. I think I already have about 4.5 hours of labor into this, so yeah. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take this tremolo off, and we'll go there. I want to pick it up by the fretboard and get it fingerprinted up already, so I'll go ahead and take this out and apart. And these are relatively easy to do. You just pop the springs out. These springs aren't in any specific order. All the springs are the same. Just kind of look at it and kind of take note how each one is set up, because you can set these up in crisscross or you know, like this instead of this, or you can have 2 springs instead of 4. You could even conceivably put a 5th string on here. Most people don't do that, but yeah, we'll go ahead and take that off and pull that sucker out and start cleaning it. It's probably going to take me a good hour and a half, maybe more. to clean it. Again, not in a rush. So yeah, let's get to it here. Even though the springs aren't in any order, I'll set them off to the side here in order, just for the heck of doing that, just for the sake of doing it. And you see it just falls out, and there's nothing else hooked to it. There's no wire hooked up. This wire is actually the ground wire that goes to the one of the pots, and it just grounds to the claw, spring claw that's called. So we'll just pick that up carefully so we don't scratch the guitar with the tremolo, and that will expose the cavity. And first thing I'll actually probably do is I'll check the cavity out. And this is just a sponge material that they cut and put there, just kind of as a protector for the tremolo, and it keeps you, if you go back or forth, keeps you from scratching what's underneath. And it's probably not even actually painted underneath. If it is painted underneath, it's probably just kind of a rough paint, if you will. So it serves an aesthetic purpose too. So yeah, so it's a little dirty in here and dusty, so I like to clean that out. Typically I won't clean that out with a polish rag. We'll just use a paper towel or a fresh clean tissue here, and just kind of
I'm initiating a subsequent scan to search for temporal anomalies both on and off.
So yeah. And depending on how clean this is inside, I might take a coat of wax and put it in there. Sometimes these are just very rough cut and just kind of rough, quick painted. They're not even buffed out with a buffing wheel at the factory. I mean, you can't get a buffing wheel in there anyway, so one would have to hand polish it. And most factories don't do that when they cut these. They just kind of cut them and maybe deburr it, and then paint it and leave it at that. I'll flip it over again and check out the cavity. Make sure the cavity has no cavities.
Pinpoint the exact moment when events became discontinuous. Do you remember the first change?
I was in sick bay. Dr. Crusher told me I had a concussion, but I do not remember that happening.
Think back. Are you certain that?
So, yeah, looks pretty good. I don't see any damage. I don't see any chips or cracks or anything of the like. So again, I'll just kind of clean this up. And a lot of times what you'll see a little bit of kind of a white powder along the edges or sides, and that's just where the factory used their factory polish. When they buff these with a giant wheel and either put cornstarch on it or a liquid polish, and that gets in here in the crevices and dries up and leaves a kind of a white residue, if you will. So I see a little bit of that here. It's not bad though. So I'm just gonna kind of give it just kind of a general cleaning, kind of buff it out by hand a little bit. Again, I've polished off of so many guitars with these rags. They're still clean, and they're kind of get themselves impregnated with polish and wax, so I don't need to put any extra on there. So there we go on that. That looks pretty good. And when it comes to these screws that adjust the tension on the springs, and that also helps you bring the level of the tremolo level. You can turn the screws in or out and help level it as you're tuning the guitar. So that helps a lot. So usually what I like to do is I like to look at these and figure out what's about halfway, what's the half measurement of the adjustment for these, and generally that's where I'll start at, because I'm putting new strings on it, and every gauge of strings, if you were to put these new strings on, and then take them off, get the guitar all set up and intonated and tuned and perfect, and then take these strings off and put another set on there, everything would be off. Even with the same gauge strings, because no two string sets are ever alike, 100%. So I'll put these in about halfway from closed position, and that'll be the starting point when I go to start setting this guitar up. So everything, like I mentioned, looks good on the in the cavity. Get some more of that white factory polish off. And yeah. Okay. Inspect the claw, make sure that looks good, inspect the ground wire, and then kind of give the ground wire a little tug. And if it just immediately comes off, then you know the solder job at the factory wasn't that great, and you'll need to resolder it. I've actually had that happen to me, where whoever the tech was that did that particular job didn't do a very good job, and it just kind of comes off. So that one's a good job though. That one's on there pretty good. So we're all set for that. Here's something I kind of forgot to do the other day. Was look at the jack and inspect the jack and make sure the screws are nice and tight, and all that. So everything looks good on this so far.
I'm leaving the track behind, but I'm not standing still. And with GoDaddy, I've made my ideas real.
Yeah, that looks good. And again, while I have, the cavity open, I'll set this over a little bit more so you guys can see what I'm doing. I'll usually press that tang in just a little bit, so that way when you put the cable in, it kind of grabs a little bit better. I personally like a nice tight connection. So I push that in a little bit, and it seems to be good. So I'll go ahead and I'll tighten this very carefully.
I still see nothing unusual. Perhaps we should activate it.
And I'm going to have to do my trick of holding the jack while I tighten the nut a little bit. And again, you don't want to put too much pressure on there, or you'll strip out the 2.5 threads that are on these nuts. You just want to put enough pressure to hold it. And sometimes you can do it and sometimes you can't. I'm kind of feeling like I can't do it on this one. I'll put a little more pressure on it, and nope, it's about as good as it's going to get. So that's alright, it's tight. So that's all I need to worry about. That's pretty good. Good jack. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the guitar aside and use my workspace for the tremolo, so you guys can see.
I have found that the quantum
Just set the
flux
guitar to the
of
side
cellular
here
RNA
very carefully.
extends to the subatomic level. It is asynchronous with
There
normal
we go.
matter. In essence, Captain,
A nice clear workspace.
what? All matter in the universe resonates on a quantum level with a unique signature. That signature is constant. It cannot be changed through any known process.
Okay.
It's the basic foundation of
So here's the tremolo. And then again, it's a Floyd Rose 7 string.
From a different quantum universe. Mr. Ward, you say the discontinuity started to occur after you returned from a Batlet tournament on Florida.
So that's what the front side looks like, and here's what underneath looks like.
And that no shuttlecraft has left the Enterprise for over a month. I understand that. But I also clearly remember attending the tournament and returning to the ship in a shuttlecraft.
So I'm just going to take this apart.
Yes.
Or as I like to say, I'm going to take the part apart and clean it, polish it, and put it back in.
If I may inquire, sir, how long have you been captain of the Enterprise?
4 years. Ever since Captain Picard.
And this gives me a chance just to see how the factory did at tightening things. And sometimes they do a good job, and sometimes, you know, things are
I do remember.
not very tight.
I just remember differently.
So these come out very easily. Usually what I'll do is when I take a part apart, I'll put the part back together. So that way I'm not losing these 3 pieces somewhere in my work area, or if I accidentally drop something. I'd rather drop the whole thing than 3 different pieces. So that helps. And you want to check the knife edges of the tremolo and make sure they're not flat or have Mars on them or anything.
Not from this distance, sir. I'm
And
also detecting an ion trail intersecting the phenomenon.
just kind of give everything just kind of a general looky-loo, you know.
I have an explanation.
And I already took a before picture
I believe the quantum fissure we discovered
of the condition of it.
point across the space-time continuum.
So when I'm done and have it back in the guitar, I will put an after picture.
For any event, there is an infinite number of possible outcomes. Our choices determine which
Again, you want to be careful not to just dump these out,
all possibilities that can happen
the little string holder blocks.
in alternate quantum realities.
And somehow I have been shifting from one
I'm going
reality
to
to
change
another.
my
That is correct.
Allen size here. Ooh, yeah, see, that was not very tight at all. Not very tight at all. And the reason why I take the parts apart, just again to inspect it for cracks, anything like that. And then, you know, I can clean and polish each individual piece individually. So it's always good to do.
Well, how can we find my original quantum state?
As a lot of people have always asked me, well, how do I know what position to put these in once I've taken them all off? Instead of just taking them off one at a time and putting them back one at a time. In other words, do one and put it back, and then take this one off. Do it, put it back, then take this one off. Well, I've done so many of these over the years that I simply know where the general factory intonation position is. And if you sometimes forget, you can actually look at the saddle and you can see it gives a physical mark where the screw sits. And then it gives a physical mark here too, so you can use that as an indicator of, you know, where it was in case you forget. So it helps for that. Usually these only have 2 screw positions, a front and a back. Most of the time they are in their front position. The only time you're going to put it in your back position is if one of these saddles goes way back, like this one is way back and this one is way back, yet the others are all forward. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4. You got 4 out of the 7 saddles that are using the front screw position. So yeah.
We did not have any children.
So just put it in its position and
We have a
Yeah, very loose. I mean, just hand loose.
and a 3-year-old.
So that's not good, because that can just make it go out of intonation very, very
What about
fast.
Alexander?
Very fast.
Alexander.
I think what I'll do is I'll just leave the screws off. Sometimes I'll put them on there
The reality.
just to keep them, but I want to polish them individually, so that's what I'm going to do. Back position, back position. The next one. That one was loose. That one was a little bit tighter, but not by much.
Analyze over 10 million quantum states from the fissure, but I still haven't found one with your signature. This may take some time, sir.
Captain, a Bajorn ship is approaching. Really? The Bajorns?
Ever since the Bajorans overpowered the Cardassian Empire, they've become more and more aggressive.
Yesterday they destroyed all our subspace telescopes because they thought we were using it to spy against them.
So,
They're charging their weapons, sir.
this will go pretty fast. It's, you know, only reason this would go slowly is if I had to replace a screw or a part or
The quantum fissure is
something.
beginning to destabilize.
Oh, there's something I kind of
Disengage the pulse.
need to do. I always bring the fine tuners up to their highest point, so that when I polish it, I can polish in between and clean in between each of those. These you can't really unscrew all the way. When they put them on at the factory, they crimp them down. Once they've screwed them in a little bit, then they put a crimp on it, so that way you can't take one fully out of the way. The only way you could is you'd have to put maybe some vice grips or channel locks on them and bust them out in case one got broke or stripped or whatever, which is pretty rare. That happens unless somebody happens to drop their guitar on these. Then that'll happen. Otherwise it doesn't.
Supposed to be to kick back, relax, and live well. But what happens if you don't have the financing to support your retirement? Without enough cash flow, what should be the best time of your life can turn into a real financial struggle. But not anymore. Now you can take control of your retirement with tax-free cash to support your life. With a home equity conversion mortgage by Live Well Financial. So how does it work? If you're 62 or older, own your own home, and still pay a mortgage, a home equity conversion mortgage converts your home equity into tax-free cash. So you can lose the burden of mortgage payments and gain the cash to live well. To find out how much
So I got about 3 hours to work on this guitar tonight, so we'll see if I finish it. If I do, great. If not, no big deal. I'll just carry it on to tomorrow, like I said.
That's right. This is your
No,
chance to convert your
no
best
biggie.
day into tax-free cash while still living in your home. And if you have retired parents, this is your chance to make sure they're looked after. Call this toll-free number
tight this
now
one
or
is.
visit
Oh, that one was barely on.
Imagine
When you put these back, you don't want to crank down on them because, you know, this isn't case hardened steel or anything. They're just kind of a hard pot metal, if you will. It's not like you can strip those out very fast and very easily.
The tax-free cash to enjoy the retirement you deserve. Simply call this toll-free number now or visit livewell.com.
Last one. Just barely on there, see? So this guitar would not have been very easy to keep in tune or keep in intonation. It would have been very difficult. Okay, have all my parts in order there. And that's what we have so far. Now we have the counterweight. I'll take that off. Again, the only thing I won't be able to take off is these fine tuners. And that's fine. I can still polish in between there. These are just the these tangs keep pressure on the long Allens, and it helps put up pressure on these fine tuners. Otherwise, they're just kind of free floating, and if you barely touch them or breathe on them, they would become out of tune if you didn't have this plate here with these tangs on it. Take a screwdriver and we'll see how tight these were. Not very tight. So just look at that. Just spin them off with my fingers. Not good. And again, this is a detail that most people who do guitar setups will overlook, because they will just naturally assume that, well, they're already tight or whatever. And this is a time-consuming job, you know. To take some time to take these apart and clean them and polish them and then put them back together without getting them all dirty and dusty and fingerprinted up with the work you just did. I like to keep these screws in order, not that they are in any order per se. Just lift that off. And these only go on one way, so you can't really put these on backwards or upside down. Well, you could, but they obviously only go in one direction. And yeah, there it is. Well, it's glory. And this is a counterweight that really doesn't have a side to it. So you could conceivably put it back this way or this way, and it wouldn't matter. There's no side to it. There's no one side to it. So here it is. All its glory.
That is one possibility. However, the uncertainty
this side is kind of just a semi-gloss, and this is gloss. So that's what it looks like off. Interesting. So I'll get my polish rag and start. Get this all nice and shiny and clean. Things like this, you know, I don't polish that. I'll wipe it off with the rag. The nuts. The screws, the bolts, you know, you don't polish those because they're not polished anyway. They just have a kind of a black anodization on them. And so I'll spread my polish around and
no, sir, it's one of the enterprises. They're hailing us.
And yeah, here we go.
That's great. We won't go back. You don't know what it's like in our universe. The Federation's gone. The Borg is everywhere. We're one of the last ships left, please.
So this should come out pretty nice.
I'm sorry, there's no choice. If this works,
you know, one thing I think they could have made this guitar aesthetically better, at least for me, is if they, instead of using just black, they could have used black chrome hardware. I'm a real lover of black chrome hardware on guitars. I love it. I think it's very, very pretty, very nice. I think that would have been pretty cool. Now I could purchase a new black chrome 7-string Floyd Rose, but and put it on there if I wanted to. But then I would have to change the locking nut and the tuners and the strap holders and all that to match. I really don't want to do that. And keep the guitar original, you know. Just keep it original, it's fine. And again, with this being black, you don't want to bear down real hard. Otherwise, you'll actually, in polishing it, you'll put micro scratches in it. So you just kind of lightly, the weight of your fingers, the weight of your hand is good enough.
Captain, is everything all right? Yes, Lieutenant. Is that a problem?
And that'll be good enough.
I do not believe so, but I will explain when I arrive. was the Badland tournament? It was fine, sir. I won champion standing.
Next on all Star Trek. Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Okay.
Followed by Voyager. Then Enterprise.
So that's
all
all there is to that. I mean, basically done. Just need to wipe it off by hand, and I'll show you the after here in a second.
You got this big, huge screen. The trainer who's challenged me in a way that
And again, the other side I won't really polish because that side isn't polished. It's just kind of a semi-gloss. I'll kind of just rub on it generally and clean it up. And that will be good for that aspect of it.
telling you can do this.
Let's run faster, faster.
Come on, keep pushing with me. The trainer will even tell you to get off your treadmill and does cross training. I could feel those muscles burning.
As you're going up, the incline is going up.
In a 12
Yeah. Rag and my little handy little stick here. Get in the nooks and crannies. Hold it down so I can get my in-between spots.
You want to get from point 0 to Mach 2. Go get it. It's life-changing. Go to NordicTrack.com now.
So you think this quantum finger is nothing that we need to worry about? No, I believe the inverse warp field resealed it. I'm looking forward to reading your report.
You know, that almost looks like a dark black chrome now that I've polished it. It isn't, but it's just my eyes are
Something wrong?
telling me it wants to be black chrome.
I will not be surprised.
My eyes are telling me
Of course you don't.
black chrome, please. Yeah. Okay, so without getting my fingerprints on it, I'll show it to you guys. The after. It's shiny. It's so shiny.
I hope you don't mind. I let myself in. I promised Alexander I'd feed his Dalvin hissing beetle while you were both away.
Yeah. Wow, it shines.
So you do not live here?
What's that supposed to mean?
Now, we'll just go ahead and polish this, just to clean it up,
Happy birthday, Worf.
just for the heck of it.
Will wanted to give you a surprise party, but I knew you'd hate it, so I talked him out of it.
Just for the heck of it.
Thank you.
I know Klingons like to be alone on their birthdays. You probably want to meditate or hit yourself with a pain stick or something.
Deanna, you do not have to leave.
Oh?
Yeah,
I
this should
have
be
not had
pretty
dinner.
quick.
Would you care to join
I'll
me?
put the strings on, I think, after this, after I get the Tremel back in. Then I will probably get the strings back in. And
Champagne.
yeah, I'll polish the back of it and the back of the neck and the back of the headstock and then start my setup on it. And that should be pretty good. That'll take the rest of the night. If it goes very smoothly, it might go a little faster. Okay. Polish this bad boy up. Like new. Basically is new. This guitar wasn't played much, like I showed you guys in the first video. It just, you know, the guy played it just literally about a half a dozen times and put it back in the case, you know. So, yeah. It's a 2012 guitar.
There are a few wild mulga trees here.
And here it is, all polished up. Came out nice. Show you guys.
Asia, right?
The Kendra province just south of the Yolta River.
Camera out of focus there.
I thought you went to a conference
Oh,
in the camp.
there we go.
I did, but afterwards Vedic Oren wanted me to visit his monastery. We took a transport across the mountains. The sun was just going down, and the entire valley was shimmering.
Okay, so put that as a side, and then I can start on the saddles. And I just, you know, just do one side, and then I do the other side. I'm not trying to get a ultra high buff on these because the finish on these aren't exactly showroom, if you will.
You're serious?
12 hecapates.
They're just kind of painted, and then that's it. Space on my rag is already breaking on me.
Sounds good to me.
Maybe someday I'll retire here.
And then I gotta get this little spot in between here. That I need my trusty stick.
Watching the sun set over the mountains every night, wondering where you put your teeth.
Just like my great-great-grandfather in the glass next to the jail.
Polish it off and see how this is gonna look. Pretty good. Pretty good.
Did you ever think that you would become so attached to Bajor that you'd want to spend the rest of your life there?
Yeah.
It wasn't part of the master plan, if that's what you mean. But from the moment I set foot on this station, nothing has turned out the way I imagined it. This was supposed to be just a temporary assignment.
And there you have it for the first one.
It's become much more than that.
I'll get my fingerprints on it, but I'll show it to you guys. I'll have to wipe it off again after I show you.
You see, it's almost like my
Destiny.
Yeah, I'll just set it aside.
Your mother turns out to be part.
Boy, he said one I just did compared to a dirty one, and you compare them, and there is no comparison. It's ultra clean.
When I look at the picture of this woman with my father, I think to myself, yes, that's Sarah, my mother. But she's not just a woman, she's more than that. And when I look at myself in the mirror,
You don't just see a man. You see more than that.
does it bother you?
Do I act like it bothers me?
You're not answering my question.
I guess when you
Okay, so pretty darn special. It is.
I was very surprised.
I've broken my spot on my rag, so I'm gonna have to use a new spot.
Is
I'm glad you think so.
I do. And I'll profit.
Here we go. Here we go, yo.
You're still my Benjamin. And I love you.
Yeah.
I bumped into Captain Baudet the other night.
Very nice.
Jadzia dated him. Oh, the toothy smile and the transparent skull. That's him. What's he doing on the station?
The Galamites are supplying uranium from the rapid.
Personally, I don't know what Jadzia ever saw in a man. Well, his brains. Did he know who you were?
Not at first.
But when he found out, I bet he laid on the charm.
You could say that.
And the man's insufferable. It's opinionated and arrogant.
And charming.
If you say so. There's something wrong?
We just got word from the Klingons. They're retiring Nicaragua were ambushed by Dominion patrolmen
Next one.
satellites.
Worf was commanding Nicaragua.
This is going pretty fast, so
The return recovered 6 escape pods.
it's 10 o'clock. I usually work no later than 1. So, I'll just keep going and see how I feel. If I feel like I want to stop, I have a good stopping point, then I'll just continue this tomorrow. Yeah. Ain't she push. See, I started off with a white spot, and boy, look what happens. Just 2 saddles into it, and so whoa, already dirty, so dirty. Black oxidizes too very easily. Again, black is a very nice color. It's very cool, but it's very unforgiving.
To be a cop's wife.
Black shows everything. It's just the way it is.
What's wrong, Andy? Pretend you're not angry after when we do come home. So scared me right now.
Yeah, earlier I was talking about my shirt I'm wearing. Barado Guitars. Check him out. He's again, he's a premier luthier, which means he builds his own guitars from scratch by hand, one at a time. He's a premier luthier. He does a lot of work for celebrities, and he's built many guitars for celebrities and famous people and rock groups and stuff like that. I highly recommend you check him out. His guitars are not for the faint of heart. They are very expensive, but you get what you pay for. By expensive, you get a nice guitar. I personally haven't bought any guitars from him. There was one guitar I wanted from him, but I hesitated to buy it, and then about 2 weeks later he sold it. It was a real nice, I think it was like a 330, like a Gibson 335 style, and it was a real neat kind of a, I think it was metallic or pearl orange. It was beautiful. I hesitated to buy it, and I was like, I'll wait. Or maybe I was going to offer him a trade or part trade in cash or something, and boom, it was gone. But he has beautiful, beautiful guitars. He makes cigar box guitars, not just, regular guitars. He makes acoustic guitars. So check him out. Check him out. Barado Guitars. It's B-A-R-A-T-T-O. And he's on Facebook, and he has his own website. I don't know if he has Twitter. I don't think he has a Twitter. I'm going to say no on a Twitter, but he might. But I know for a fact he has Facebook, because we're friends on Facebook. Okay, there's that one done. Badass. That's number 2. So we'll do number 3 here.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Andy's a real nice guy. We've been friends for a while now, quite a while. He's been here to my house many times, actually. Real nice guy. Real nice guy. I bought amplifiers, guitar parts. I bought a huge supply of new and used and vintage guitar parts from him. Thousands and thousands and thousands of parts. He brought over boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes in the back of his minivan, and everything from tremolos to tuners to pots, electronic pieces, tremolo arms, pickups, strap buttons, switches, just all kinds of stuff. he happened to have a whole lot of stuff that's, you know, interchangeable for Gibson and Epiphone and Ibanez and stuff like that. So I bought pretty much, I think I bought pretty much all his stock of extra spare new and used and vintage parts. I mean, he still have a few things left, but I'll have to ask him. And it's all stuff I've been using off of those parts for quite a while now. Anything I need, I go to his boxes and lo and behold, it's there. Anything I need. But yeah, really nice guy, really nice. Check him out. Again, it's Barato Guitars. So B-A-R-A-T-T-O. Barato. And his first name is Matty. M-A-T-T-Y. He is a gentleman and a scholar,
Why all the secrecy? Who's you going to be talking to?
as they say. Yeah. It's a fine gentleman. One of these days I'll get a guitar from him. Hopefully he makes and builds another orange 335 style, like the one I was going to get him.
Computer. Override
That was a
logic.
nice guitar. I should have bought that guitar.
Jax 974 Alpha 3.
That's what happens when you wait. When you find something and then you tell yourself, I'll wait. And then what happens? You wait your time away. That happens on so many aspects of life. I'll wait a day or two, and then a day or two turns into 3, and then turns into a week, and then turns into 2 weeks, and then turns into a month. In my case, I only waited about a week and a half, 2 weeks. And he's like, yeah, I sold it already. I was like, no. He didn't want that much for it. I think he wanted, considering the quality of it, and he uses all his wiring is steel braided and all that kind of stuff, and he uses top quality, first run, name brand parts. He doesn't use second run or third run stuff. He's top notch, top quality, best money can buy. I think that guitar I was going to get was either $1,200 or $1,500. I forget which right now. I want to say 12, but I could be wrong. Okay, that's number 3. Now to number 4. Okay. We're cooking with gas now. Check the chat room here real quick. Oh. Alright.
We have a problem. It's Ezra. She's gone.
Gone?
There's a runabout missing.
She must have gotten it into her head to go looking for Warlock.
What could she be thinking?
She's a vet. Sometimes they don't think. They just do.
Yeah. So I like doing this kind of work, you know. Most people would look at it as very tedious, time consuming, and some would even go as far as to say unnecessary. You know, I've even had guys tell me, just, drag a rag across it, while it's still on the guitar and still on. Well, that's not going to do anything. That's just going to get a little bit of the top, not even all the top. It's like, no, that's not what I do. I take the parts, I take the part off, and then I take the part apart. And then if those parts have parts, I take those parts apart. And I keep doing it. I keep working on it. Get it apart.
We still have a flip phone, but that's okay. Choose a phone that fits your needs. Consumer Cellular.
Do it right. Do it right or don't do it at all.
Who you are. I try to be honest and trustworthy, and I also think Consumer
Do it
Cellular
right or
works
don't
that
do
way
it at
as a
all.
company. I trust them.
They share the same values. Stop paying too much for wireless service. Switch to Consumer Cellular and start saving today.
With Consumer Cellular, I'm only paying for what I need.
By moving to Consumer Cellular, my cost is 50% less than it was.
I have everything I want with Consumer Cellular. I get a discount through AARP, which
Pretty good here. We're almost half done.
Get exclusive discounts. Their customer service is fabulous.
Customers are the #1 priority.
I really
You see me doing. I get into the nooks and crannies. I don't
Industry that has
don't
the
fudge on anything.
We're proud to receive the
Do it
J.
right
Power Award for highest
the first
customer
time,
service
or
4
don't
times
do
in a
it
row.
It's
at
easy to
all.
switch. You could use your own phone, and you could use your own
And I'm the
network.
probably type of person who would not do it at all.
You're going to save a lot of money.
I could not do it
For
all.
a limited time, get your first month of service free. Call
That's number 4 and number 5 here.
Go online or visit a Target store today.
Oh, you know what? That one sticks a
You gotta
little.
look into it. You
And
should
that-
be with Consumer Cellular.
You've been thinking about
This is again. This is why you want to take it apart,
and
so you
you've
can
had some things
inspect this
holding you
kind of
back.
stuff.
It costs too much money, you say.
I gotta look at it now and see what it's hanging up on.
When you start to consider it, you end up with a list of
Why is
questions
it doing
and no
this?
clue where to
You
even
know,
start.
might be the pin
What
is a
you
little
do know,
crooked or
though,
something.
Is that you're tired of having bad vision and dealing with all the problems that come
So,
along.
a little hammer out.
Long enough, which is convenient because now is the perfect time
And you really can't take these apart. I mean, you could put it in a press and punch that pin out, I think. Well, I don't think I know. I've done it many times. Sometimes pins, I've actually seen pins break. Or I've needed to replace this saddle piece or replace just this saddle piece. So what I'm going to need to do here is make a little spot here. So you don't hammer it on the padding here, or it won't do anything.
And because we value your trust, your safety, and your peace of mind, we offer the
It just needs to be
TLC
closed
lifetime
a
commitment
little
to
bit.
ensure the
I see
highest
kind of a
quality
gap,
service
and
before, during,
it's
and
got
after
kind of a
your
little bit too
procedure.
much play right there. So
To
I'm
top
going
it
very
all
carefully.
off, LASIK is more affordable than ever before, thanks to
Just
multiple
kind of pound
financing
this close.
options.
And these are just made out of pot metal. These aren't stainless steel or anything, so you break it, it's gone. I got another guitar over there, a kind of a rare Jackson Telecaster. It's got a Floyd Rose on it, and one of these saddles is cracked in half. And it's the kind of saddle that's doesn't have a 90 degree here. It slopes off at angles. So it's that kind of saddle. And those kind of saddles are kind of semi-hard to find. And it's got to be chrome. And it's got to fit and all that stuff. So you can't just put any old saddle back in it, or it won't be right and it won't look right. Okay, so.
Cisco to Gander.
Okay.
Gander responds.
Interesting.
Gander here.
Do the other side here.
I'm not reading you very well. There's interference.
Dax, turn that ship around and get back here.
Ooh, almost. A little bit more, I think.
Get it up, old man. I'm not
Oh, there we go. It's not hanging up, or...
I
Yeah,
gave you an
there
order,
we go.
Lieutenant.
It's amazing. If in doubt, hammer it. The old saying goes, if you can't fix it, hammer it. That'll fix it. Just hammer it. Okay.
Sir, do you think there's any chance she'll be able to find him? I wish I could say yes.
Yeah, that's better.
May I ask why you're letting her do this? Because she needs to.
Yep.
And because she'd never forgive me
Oh,
if I
yeah.
stopped her.
Okay. Now that that's done.
Computer, show me the position of the Karag at the time it was attacked.
These aren't lubricated with oil or anything. They're just, you know,
The 6 starboard pods were
they're just
recovered.
kind of,
Going in from the port side.
dry. Not
Assuming
lubricated.
someone made it to the port escape pod closest to the bridge.
Some people have said, well, can you lubricate these? And it's like, well, you know, these really don't move that much, so there's really no, it's not necessary to lubricate them and have them all oiled up, and then that just attracts dust, and you get on your hands and dirty. And so the answer is no, you don't want to lubricate these. The answer is no.
Cut all engines.
Do not lubricate it.
Maneuvering thrusters, the ship may be swept into areas of plasma flare activity.
I know. But with any luck, the currents will take us to the same place they took Worf. Cut the engines.
So we're working on number 5 here. And 2 more after this. And then we can start reassembly. It's gonna look pretty darn spiffy. I'm done with it, I'll tell you that.
Ben,
Pretty darn
what are you
spiffy.
doing now?
I couldn't sleep.
Oh, it's coming along.
Spifferific.
I thought if I did some work, it'd take my mind off things.
If Worf is out there, she'll find it.
So, what do you think?
It's gonna be beautiful.
These windows
Where's the other?
face south towards the valley.
A nice view.
Did you know there's a running stream on the property? The soil is perfect for growing kava. I could make my own spring wine.
The emissary's special reserve. It'll be a big seller.
Okay. Oh,
I can't decide
don't
whether I
drop
should
it after I just
open
polished
up
it.
this wall.
2 more to go.
Open it up. Who wants to be locked away cooking when you've got guests over?
5 down, 2 to go.
In the kitchen. Or you can't have people coming in and sticking their fingers in your pants.
Your house.
I want it to be our house.
And I'll show you the rag after I'm done here. And some of you may have said, well, boy, that didn't look that dirty. Yeah, it was dirty. It needed it. It needed it.
I love you.
And this one's good.
Whoa. Does that mean yes?
What do you think?
Or do you want to play hard to get?
What a beautiful ring.
Cassidy hates.
Oh no, he's asking her to marry him.
Will you marry me?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Yes. Yes, Mr. Cisco. I will.
Oh boy. You're in for it now. You're in for it now, man.
Warning, plasma flow activity ahead.
You're not kidding.
Re-establishing engine control is recommended.
No. Let's sit tight. Our only hope of finding that escape pod is to follow the currents. Transfer all available power to the shields.
Acknowledged.
Hold position. Activate a tractor beam and lock onto that pod.
Yeah. Purdy. It's so purdy.
Worf.
Esri.
It is nothing.
It's Esri. She's pretty cute. Like her, the actress that plays her is pretty pretty, very cute. And she's good too.
You are alone.
The department was forced to call off its search.
6 down, 1 to go.
Why would Captain Cisco risk sending a runabout to
This one's nice and
He
free.
didn't. I came without his permission.
Watching Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
You're a fellow officer. I would have done the same for Kira or Julian.
Of course.
This actor, this young actress woman that plays Esri. She's pretty cute, very pretty.
I will do it myself.
I'll contact the station and tell them we're on our way back.
Very pretty. Very pretty. She's small. She's very small stature.
One of our heroes, Dr. May Carol Jemison, the first African-American woman to travel in
Makes her
space.
so cute.
She was so inspired by Lieutenant Uhura, she started her shifts in space with these words.
Hailing frequencies open.
Star Trek, The Next Generation, 6 nights a week, 9, 8 Central, on H&I.
This is an important message for seniors about home equity conversion.
Oh my, this last one.
You finally retired.
See how the
This
chat's
is supposed to be
doing.
your time to kick back, relax,
Chatting
and
chat.
live well. But what happens if you don't have the financing to support your retirement? Without
Chatting
enough
chat.
cash flow, what should be the best time of your life can turn into a real financial struggle.
Yeah, I've mentioned this before. Normally, I do not stream on YouTube because YouTube is not a streaming platform. It's a video uploading platform. My platform is Ustream. I've been there on Ustream TV since literally the first day they opened. So I have more than just several channels on Ustream TV. But since some friends of mine streamed on YouTube, I'll give it a try, just for the heck of it. And all my videos that I'm placing here on YouTube, I'm also going to put up on my Ustream channels too. My Classic Guitar Ustream channel. Just because I can.
They're looked after. Call this toll-free number now or visit livewell.com today. Imagine never having to worry about money ever again. Book that vacation you've always dreamed of. Take the time to look after your health and well-being.
Okay, there we have it.
Special occasions like the grandkid's birthday again, all while staying in the comfort of your own home, while your mortgage makes you a regular payment. Find out how much you may qualify for with an FHA-insured home equity.
There they are, all done, all 7. I'm going to go wash my hands so I get a minimum amount of fingerprints on everything, reassembling it. Grab a new drink, and I will be back forthwith.
Took the cancer medication to Cigna and then suffered circulatory issues. Call right now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. Canadian regulators recently forced the makers of Tasigna to warn patients of the risk of circulation problems in the arms and legs, which can lead to amputations. Other complications associated with the use of Tasigna include reduced blood flow, heart attack, stroke, and even death. If your loved ones suffer from chronic myeloid leukemia and have experienced pain, itching, arthrosclerosis, or circulatory problems while taking Tasigna, call right now. You may be owed significant compensation from the manufacturer. Call Nightline Legal to speak with an experienced attorney for a free consultation. There are time deadlines to file a claim, so don't wait. Call right now. Call 1-800-393-1321. That's 1-800-393-1321.
Okay, I'm back. forgot to wash my hands. I'll be back
Does the new
again.
communication system meet your needs?
It's adequate.
If I can be of any further assistance.
When the time comes. The vaccine. How is it progressing?
I regret that it failed to stabilize the latest sample you provided.
I see.
I have a team of 40 doctors working night and day to find a cure.
Have them document their efforts and then eliminate them.
Found it?
Activate their clones and order them to continue their predecessors' work. Perhaps a fresh perspective will speed matters along.
Of course.
I do.
The Cardassians, what have you told them?
Okay.
They know nothing.
Good. The sickness that has infected the Great Blink is none of their concern. They may be our allies, but they are not to be trusted. We must not lose.
Had to shut my lightsaber off again.
I won't rest until the cure is up.
Got a lightsaber decoration on the
That you don't.
wall.
We'll require
Just for giggles. Just for giggles. Okay, hands washed. Go ahead and reassemble. Reassemble.
You may go.
Must reassemble. Oh, disassemble. You guys know what movie that was from? Oh, disassemble.
So, you approve?
approve. I'm the one who sent you over to Cassidy in the first place.
Yeah, so you did.
Practically had to twist your arm. A freighter captain. You want me to go on with a freighter captain?
Well, you have to admit that the job description conjures up some image.
Yeah. You shouldn't have doubted me. I knew from the first time I met her that she was the woman for you.
If you're going to take credit, you are also going to have to take on responsibilities.
Like what?
Like being my best man.
Are you serious?
Absolutely.
I mean, are you sure you
Yeah.
want
These all crank down pretty tight. I mean, as tight as a screwdriver will let me tight.
I'm honored.
Because if I come back and one is loose, then I gotta take it off and all apart.
That means I get to plan the bachelor party.
And that would not be good. Ugh. So, there we have it. Looking good. That's a sexy Tremolo. That's sexy.
What are you doing?
I'm realigning the inertial stabilizers.
But didn't you just do that a few hours ago?
I want to make sure the systems are running at optimal efficiency.
Right.
Okay.
So, what was it like being in that escape pod for so long?
Okay. Alright.
To spend the time?
So.
Nothing.
So. Go ahead and reassemble. Must
What did you say?
reassemble.
Klingon opera?
I did not sing.
Which one? Shvach Takesh.
No. Gova Tovar.
And just put a little bit of pressure on these just to hold it in place.
As you said, the acoustics were favorable.
Put the string holder back. And these are offset. They're not in the center. So you want your little hole divot at its lowest position.
I prefer we not discuss her.
And you want the hole on that side, not facing this way.
What about Alexander?
What about him?
Is it alright if I ask about the Son of War? I hear he's been made weapons officer of the Alvane.
They were short-handed.
You make it sound like he didn't deserve it.
That was not my intention.
ease up on
I'm
you.
very good at eyeing these and putting it back to a factory
That's funny because on our wedding night you told me that...
intonation setting.
I'm sorry.
You don't want to crank down on these. You don't want to impact these on. In other words, you want them tight, but you don't want to strip it out, because once one of these is stripped out, you can pretty much just throw this whole plate away. And if you have to do that, you might as well throw the whole Tremolo away.
For the past 6 months now.
So just do it very carefully. So take your time. I'm in no rush. I'm in no rush.
If it wasn't for me, you'd still be drifting around in an escape pod
Finish
singing
this,
Klingon opera.
Sensors are detecting 2 ships, closing on our position.
They're Jem'Hadar fighters.
Dropping out of warp.
Is that a good idea?
We cannot outrun them. The Gorilla system is nearby. We might be able to lose them there.
Get this.
They're coming in behind
Check
us.
my spot.
Transfer auxiliary power to aft shields.
Shields are down to 30%.
I am taking this into the atmosphere.
The
ships are not designed for suborbital flight.
If I do this right and slow and take my time, I won't have to re-intonate this, which would be very time consuming. If I do this right, the intonation will be 98, 99, 100%. Check the screw, make sure it's not stripped or anything. Inspect everything. Inspect everything, then you'll only have to do the work once. It's like the old saying, measure twice, quit once. Concentrate and take my time and tighten this. Yeah, it's looking pretty darn spiffy. Now, again, these two are in the number 1 position of the screw hole. Position number 1. These are number 2, third one. Number 2.
Look on the bright side. We'll have plenty of time to talk.
Did I miss a polish spot on this one? Looks a little dull on one end here.
They're the heroes on the beat.
Well, it's
Their
good.
lives to keep order and always seek justice.
Very pretty.
It's 5 action-packed shows featuring heroes protected a week, 5 days a week. The Day Shift, weekdays starting at noon, 11 Central on HNI.
Come on.
We asked our customers, why is Consumer Cellular your choice in
Check
wireless?
my intonation spacing.
Consumer Cellular. Consumer Cellular is the best value. It's a fabulous
That's right
service.
about there.
Great price.
Consumer Cellular
I know I'm
save money.
98, 99%
$15 a
on the
month, and
intonation
unlimited
setting on
talk and
this.
text is just $25 a month. It's simple and easy.
It is reliable.
Know for a fact I
There are no
am.
contracts. Simple, reliable, and no contracts. It's the ease of getting the phones, using the phones,
Yeah,
and
boy,
for
that looks
people of our
nice.
generation, that's really important
Yes,
because we're
pretty.
not always tech savvy.
I have a smartphone.
And this one is number 2
They still
screw
have
hole
a flip phone,
position.
but that's okay. Choose a phone that fits your needs.
Consumer Cellular checks to make sure that the plan fits you, who you are.
I try to be honest and trustworthy, and I also think Consumer Cellular works that way as a company. I trust them.
They share the same values.
Oh,
Stop paying too much for wireless service. Switch to Consumer Cellular and
Inspect my
start
screw
saving today.
again.
With Consumer Cellular, I'm only paying for what I need.
By moving to Consumer Cellular, my cost is 50% less than
Make
the
my
I have everything I want with
intonation
Consumer Cellular.
I get a
position
discount through
adjustment.
AARP.
Which makes me happy. AARP members get exclusive discounts.
Their customer
Yeah,
service
come on.
is fabulous.
Customers are the #1 priority.
I really feel like they take care of me.
Right about there.
provider in the industry
that has the customer service that Consumer Cellular does.
We're proud to receive the J.D. Power Award for highest customer service 4 times in a row.
It's easy to switch. You could use your own phone,
Feels
and
like
you
it's
could use your
gonna
own number.
strip out.
Wouldn't drag me
Not the
away
head,
from
but the
Consumer
threads.
Cellular. Go with Consumer Cellular.
I gotta go really
Switch now,
slow.
and for a limited time, get your first month of
Position
service free.
right.
Call 1-800-853-1372. Go online or visit a Target store today.
You gotta look in. You should be with Consumer Cellular.
3 more to go. Bada boom, bada bang. Bada bang. This one is front position.
No loss performance there.
Screw
My
hole.
mother would prefer her daughter to be married by ministry. But an admin is the next best thing.
That's good. I'll talk to her.
About the guest list, I wanted to keep it
String
small,
holder.
just family and friends.
Well, that's fine by me. There's only room for 30 or 40 people in the
Screw.
That just leaves the menu.
You mind if I ask Court to do the catering?
Let's make sure he does all the charges.
I'll make sure I've got a deal.
Ready to put my station setting.
What else do we need to talk about? I have the feeling we're forgetting something.
You tell me. You're the one who's been married before.
Well, it's just a lot more complicated before.
Oop,
People
I
get
tightened the
carried away
screw a
with
little
weddings.
too much. The
Just
Allen
want it to
screw.
be nice and simple.
Excuse me, emissary?
Hello, Sachi.
I wanted to congratulate you. Both of you.
Oh, aren't you sweet? Who told you we were getting married?
Oh, my hand's cramping up a
Everybody's
little
talking
bit.
about it. Can I be one of your dais bearers?
My what?
For the bridal procession. I know you can only choose 51 girls, but it would be such an honor for me.
Well,
People are saying it's going to be the biggest wedding Beijing's ever seen.
Okay,
they are.
The emissary's getting married.
down 2 to go.
Then,
This one's going to be
I think this is going to be a little more
position number
complicated
2 in the
than I thought.
screw hole. String retaining block.
I wouldn't give to wipe the smirk off that little boarder's face.
Inspect the screw.
Still, power does have its privileges.
Get my adjustment for the inclination. Position.
Leave us.
Ah.
This is where you know you're here.
I see he still has you under his thumb.
Last one, folks.
Last time you saw him, you made certain promises. Promises you weren't able to keep.
I may have failed to reopen the wormhole.
This one's going to be in the back
I
position.
have no regrets. You see, I've come to
Position
know the
number
love
2.
of the Power 8s.
You almost sound as if you believe it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do. What brings you here?
I've come to see you, old friend. I need your help.
I'm afraid you have an exaggerated sense of my importance.
Come on.
String block.
But I'll do what I can.
I knew you would.
Inspect the screw. Okay, make my intonation adjustment.
why'd you have to kill a defenseless animal? We have plenty of field rations.
I've been eating field rations for 6 days. I am sick of field rations.
So you traipsed into the jungle, gave yourself something to eat?
Okay.
Did I use a phaser? I use this.
Very good.
Well, that makes it all the more sporting.
Alright.
I'll
Now put the
and while doing so, I could have easily
wipe
been
off
attacked by a friend
the
myself.
Oh,
mount for the tremolo arm like I said I was going to do.
I killed it, and now I'm going to eat it.
Take it
If you do not
off.
want it.
And
have some more field.
Reassemble.
Fine.
Jadzia would have understood.
Goes on top.
Oh, I thought we weren't supposed to talk about her.
I was merely
Hold
making
it.
an observation.
And this goes, this little kind of barrel sleeve goes over.
To boost the combat signal.
Not enough to get a message back
And
to
then
the station.
your Allen.
I'll bet
screw.
Jadzia would have been able to do it. I was merely making an observation.
Get my larger sized Allen. And it doesn't matter which position in the round it goes, it's all the same. So just tighten it down. And then I will be done. I can reassemble it in the guitar. Yay! It only took took me about 40 minutes. Not bad. Pretty darn good. Making good time on it.
If he talks so much,
Give it a final inspection.
He's interesting.
Before I put it back in the guitar, make sure I got all my intonation positions correct. 4 down, 3 up.
Tell me, did Jadzia?
I might need to come back and do a little bit of adjustment. If I do, that's fine, but
She and
I like to get mine 99 to 100% on intonation, because if your guitar's not intonated, you can't tune it. It'll be out of tune. Intonation's very important. It's something that a lot of guitarists and a lot of guitar techs either ignore or forget. Okay, so I'll show you the finished product here.
You know what? You're crazy.
You can make anyone crazy.
Don't turn your back.
There it is. Isn't it shiny and nice?
Do not call me a coward.
I can't believe I'm stuck here with you.
Perhaps you would rather be back on the station with
Turned out pretty nice, and they're arguing on Star Trek here, so. The other side of it, which is really not much to see on the underside, but I'll show it to you. Turned out pretty shiny. It's shining in the camera there pretty good. The other side. Looks pretty nice. So, that being said, set that aside. Put the guitar back up. And we shall double check the cavity. And I'll put the posts, height posts, back into a kind of a general factory setting. That's about right. Oh, and I did put a that heavy piece here to reposition the pickup, and it's still kind of tilted a little bit, but it's nowhere near it was where it was the other night. So that helped quite a bit, actually. Okay, so here's what you do. Really the best way to do this is to put your tremolo back down like this. You want to position it so it's like that. These are to the back. And then put your guitar over the position. And then with your hand, just kind of lightly push up on it on the tremolo and feel for the tremolo pivots, pivot arms, pivot posts. And you'll feel it pivot back and forth, and you can kind of hold it in place and then start putting the strings back in place.
To top it all off, Klasic is more affordable than ever.
Now there's one of two ways to do this. If you got enough hand strength and enough room to just stretch the string out, push it back in, you can do it that way, or you can put it in the hole here first.
basic consultation and make the decision to
Sometimes
change
it's
your
a little
vision
easier said than done.
today.
Because these are angled, these pinholes, so you have to put it in angled. And then you'll have to take a screwdriver and then pick up, very gently pick up the loop of the spring.
It just works.
Come on.
You put in the drug you're looking for, and bang, you've got half a dozen or more choices in front of you of pricing and locations to get it.
You never think about
Come on, and then just stretch, and then whoop. Sometimes that works. Sometimes you have to hold it with your thumb while holding the tremolo in place. So sometimes you have to do 3 jobs. You need a third hand sometimes.
If you or a loved one had hernia surgery and have experienced complications such as chronic pain, infection, wound reopening, or other complications, you may be entitled to significant compensation. Call the Hernia Mesh Legal Helpline now.
And sometimes you can just hold it like that. I don't need to use my bigger screwdriver. Hold it in place. This. Whoop! Oops, I almost had it. It slipped out though. Okay, do this again. Push it in. Hold it. Hold it. Pick it up with your screwdriver.
Why would the Breen take us prisoner? We have not been Warlock them.
What were they doing on the ground?
Over. Ah, darn. Sometimes it's easier said than done. I'm a little tired today, so my finger dexterity is not where it should be. I'll hold it this way. My thumb's a little stronger today. And you gotta do it fast is the key.
Are not supposed to come involved with anyone they were in previously.
Okay. Well, if it's in a case like that, then sometimes it's easier to start with your middle ones. So if you can start with your middle ones first, sometimes it's better.
The 6th Fleet from the Bolivian front. What do you suppose they're... Tomorrow.
I'll be darned. Okay.
What's wrong with you? You're distracted.
In that case, I'll have to... Alright.
Trying to stay warm. Leg it tomorrow. Please, report acknowledged. Excuse me.
If you think I don't know what you're up to, you're a bigger fool than Dukas. He used to entertain lady friends as well.
I'm gonna have to put the stuff the rag in there to keep it from coming out more. There we go. Whoop, come on. I'm gonna have to get the second one and do it real quick.
The surgeon you recommended does excellent work. What do you think?
Get in there.
She does as well. When it comes time to reverse the procedure. Leave me to mine. I have no desire to remain shoulder the rest of the
Ah! Oh.
For now.
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to have to, when it's that hard, I'm going to have to back the screws back out where I had them before, and then put it back in halfway.
I'm 49, and I can't believe I look this good.
I'm 45, and the next trainer's going
See, I don't want to bust it all up and scratch it all up and all that rigmarole.
World's first 14-minute total body workout, and it burns up to 2.5 times the calories of other workouts.
I don't want to spend an hour on the treadmill. That 14 minutes, that was plenty. I lost 12 pounds in 10 weeks. The Max Trainer combines the low-impact motion of the
easier
and the calorie-burning power of the stepper, then guides you through a simple series of intervals. Short bursts of effort followed by longer periods of rest, working you smarter, not harder.
You watch the little speedometer go up, and that pushes you. I lost 12.5 pounds in just 10 weeks. I left being in shape so I can keep up with what I should.
Our body takes care of its own impact. I lost 42 pounds in 10 weeks.
There we go. We're getting it. We're getting it.
$450. That's ordermaxtrainer.com.
Personal log. Stardate 515.
Dagnabbit.
That's in war.
Okay. Don't hold it real tight.
Activity at the last minute position has prevented us from giving certainty.
Okay.
For the time being, there's nothing to do but wait and hope that they're all right.
Last one.
Why have you brought me here?
Almost got it.
Show yourself.
You are the Cisco. You must accept
Okay. Flip it over, make sure it's in its pivot spot. To do that, you can just put the arm in. Oh. Yeah, and of course it came out. Okay. Again, sometimes it's easier said than done. Yeah, then all four of them came out and it falls on the floor. Yeah. Okay. Alright. One more Mr. Nice Guy. Oh, my Mr. Nice Guy on this. Put my rag under it.
If you do, you will know nothing but sorrow.
I don't care how I feel. All that matters to you is that I do what you
Alright,
want.
no more Mr. Nice Guy here.
You are part of me.
If that's true, if you really do care about me, if you do consider me your son, then let me have this.
It is not for you to have. There are still many tasks ahead of you. Accept your fate. Your greatest trial is about to begin. Don't be afraid. All will be as it should be.
Alright, this should do it.
Stay on the path. Benjamin.
Okay, I think what I forgot to do is I forgot to redo my... Ooh, okay, don't want that. What the heck? What's going on here? Why is this temperamental? Okay, I don't get why it's doing this. Maybe I don't quite have them on the pivots. I think that's part of the problem. Have to back it back out. Come on now. Really? Goodness gracious.
Explain what happened, Lieutenant. She hit me is what happened. Your nose is broken in 3 places. I'll need you to set the ethmoid flosser. Try not to move. We were having a disagreement about the power grid. She wanted to realign the lateral
Looks like
plasma
it's in its
conduit.
pivot places, so
An overload.
I don't know
She
why
was listening. So I told her to step aside and let me handle it.
this is acting up.
I pushed back.
We'll see here in a second.
Blood pouring down my face.
Then what happened?
Ah, no, don't slide out.
Maybe you should go to sick
Why
bay.
is it sliding out?
Good advice. Now,
Hold still. Don't worry, Lieutenant. I'll take care of it.
No.
and everything will be fine.
Where is it? To the quarters. I would like to move on the
Okay, I don't understand why it's doing this.
Come on.
Something's off, something's wrong.
Is it going to hold him to break for that long?
The captain has
Something's off, something's wrong.
considering the accumulating circumstances.
Would I like to settle this on my own without filing charges, without involving the captain?
Hey, okay, there we go.
It's a court-martial offense.
She's a Marquis, and the Marquis sometimes has to push people out of your way to get things done.
Yeah, it's right in its position.
And with all due respect, Commander, neither are you. Allowing Miss Torres to get away with a clear violation of regulations sets a bad example for the rest of
Not
the
sure
crew.
why it was doing that, but we'll fix it.
Showing favoritism toward the Marquis.
Look, Lieutenant, I don't have to explain myself to you. I'll deal with Solana personally, and then I'll inform the captain. You're to drop this matter. That's an order.
I will yield my authority in this case to you. However, I will make a full report in my security log.
You do that.
Sir, we heard what happened. What are they going to do with Milana?
I don't know yet, but I'll handle it.
We heard that Captain Janeway's going to put her in the brig for 2 months, and that all the Maquis are going to be restricted to quarters when they're not on duty.
Not true.
We just want you to know that if things do get out of hand, we're ready to back up.
What does that mean?
In case you want to take control of the ship, give her full support.
If I ever hear you talk that way again, I'll personally throw you in the brig for mutiny.
Okay. I don't know why it's acting this way. It's very strange.
Here. The medical report on Lieutenant Carey.
Lieutenant Carey is an idiot. When I tell you
I
what...
don't want to hear it. You might be interested to know that the impact fractures along his cranium were pretty severe. If you'd hit him just a little harder, you could have driven some of those bones into his cerebellum.
I didn't even come close to hitting him that hard.
So on the one side, I'm facing
Don't get this. Something's wrong.
I'm facing all the Maquis who are ready to seize the ship over this. You've turned this into one lousy day for me, Torres.
Okay, I'll start from the opposite end instead
So how
here.
long do I have to stay in here?
Rest of the trip, 75 years.
I've never found your twisted sense of humor very funny, Chuckleton.
Or I could send you back to work with the understanding that you'll apologize to me.
Apologize? He was the one who...
Not just a simple apology, a personal one. Over a hot cup of peduta. Bond with the man.
I am not going to bond with him.
You're going to need support from people like Carey.
I don't need support from anybody.
You are if you're going to be chief engineer of this ship.
Right.
This is not another example of my twisted sense of humor.
But Carey's next in line.
You're a better engineer than he is.
It's very strange that these are wanting to pop right out immediately. You might have to rough up the tips. Sometimes if you rough up the tips a little bit or slightly bend, put a slight bend in the tip, they'll grip better in these holes and they won't slip out. So maybe I'll have to do that. So I don't want to start scratching and damaging stuff there. Yeah, it just wants to pop right back out. That is weird. I haven't had that happen to me in a long time. It's quite strange. Very carefully turn this over and see. Just kind of see that they're in there. The tremolo was in its pivot position, which it is. I mean, this is probably going to happen again, but yeah, it all came out all at once. What the heck is going on here? Okay. Yeah, I'm going to start scratching stuff up here. I want to do that. I have to find out why it's doing this. Okay.
His name is
Think.
David Banner. A fugitive of his own mind.
I see what they did for the 7-string. They counter. Oh, great. They counter. They cross-angle drilled these holes.
Weekdays 5/4 Central, right here on
For the block. Remember how I said that it doesn't matter? In a lot of cases it doesn't matter. When the factory drills them, they drill them straight. Well, in this case, you see how the spring is going in straight? But you put it this way, and it goes in crooked. See?
We're all going to have to get out and push.
What about alternative energy sources?
So it's like, wait a minute, why are these popping out? Because the spring is at an angle. So sometimes they're like that, sometimes they're not. In this case it is. So that's my mistake. So to correct that, I'm going to have to take this tremolo all apart and redo the block. Turn the block around. That sucks, but whatever. Gotta do it. I didn't think of checking that before. And, yeah, well, whatever.
And I do know more about this region of space than any other member of the crew.
We have some excellent
It won't take long to do. Just.
Very well. You're welcome to join us this time.
I want to strip these. More times you take these apart, the more apt you are to strip something out or something to strip out. Every time you take it apart, and every time you take it apart, and every time you take it apart, and put it back together.
I understand that the replicators are down, and that the emergency rations won't hold out much longer.
Sucks, but it is what it is, and that's what it is.
It was designed for organic storage, and it already has adjustable.
My bad.
When can you start? Me? It's your idea. It's your project. Right away.
I can do some wonderful things with vegetable capping. My Farragoid goulash is known across 12 star systems.
So, it won't take long to do. It's just aggravating.
Personnel situation. We've managed to find a replacement for the transporter chief, but we still need an astrogation plotter, a chief engineer, medical support personnel.
I've made a list of several Marquis crew members who would make good officers.
Ah, Taurus. She was the one involved in the incident with Mr. Carey.
That's right.
Just what job do you think she's
I'd have this guitar strung up and polished by now. Or polishing it by now, but yeah, it happens.
We still need a chief medical officer.
What about that electronic man down in sickbay?
It is an emergency medical hologram, and its abilities are
Oh
limited.
dear.
It can only operate within the confines of sickbay. Not to mention its lousy bedside manner.
Perhaps we should assign somebody to train with the hologram as a field medic.
Good idea. Lieutenant, I understand you studied biochemistry at the academy?
Only 2 semesters.
Okay, now
Close
I
enough.
gotta take it and
You just
switch it
volunteered to
over.
become a field medic. Report to sickbay as soon as we're finished here.
But Captain,
Stations, everyone.
We're running into some kind of spatial distortion. Mr. Tubok.
distortions are emanating from a highly localized disturbance in the space-time continuum. Distance 20,000 kilometers up the port bow.
Hold stop. I
flux density is over 2,000%. If I'm not mistaken, we're looking at a Type 4 quantum singularity.
So I'm not talking much during this. If I don't talk, I'll be able to concentrate a little more and get this done a little faster.
On speakers.
Okay. Alright. It is what it is, and that's what it is, so
Does it look like any ship
whatever.
you're familiar with?
No. Nothing I recognize. But then it's so hard to make out.
They may be trapped in the event horizon. Open the channel. This is Captain Catherine Janeway of the Starship
I gotta
Voyager.
redo my intonation all over again.
Do you need help? Event horizon?
A singularity is a star that's collapsed in on itself. The event horizon is a very powerful energy field surrounding it. Why, at once, on a particularly dangerous trade mission to the twin stars of Kelowna, I myself was almost trapped inside.
No response to our hail, Captain.
Can we track to the vessel out?
Okay.
No, the
Two.
subspace interference is too heavy.
Captain, we're less than 3 light years from Ilidaria. They have sophisticated technology. They might be able to help. And they're quite friendly. Most of the time.
No. It looks like it's being pulled in toward the singularity.
Animation.
We have to get it out of the event horizon.
Bridge to Torres. We need a way to get that ship out of there. Any ideas?
I was thinking we could remodulate a tractor beam to match the subspace interference. It might be enough to cut through the event horizon.
A subspace tractor beam.
Exactly.
When can you have it ready?
2
there
hours,
we go.
maybe 3.
Get right on it. Use as many people as you need.
Mr. Carey, what do you think?
With the right field modulation, it might work. But we'll need more power to the emitter array.
Very well. You're in charge, Mr. Carey. Report to me when the tractor beam is ready.
Bye, Captain.
Set my intonation.
Mr. Carey, hold our position here. I'd like to see you in front.
Oh, come on.
We have a problem, and I think it's time we discuss it.
Captain, I appreciate your concerns about Torres, but I promise you.
You don't understand.
why isn't
This
this
isn't
moving?
about Torres. My problem is with you.
Me.
Let me be blunt. What you tried to do just now was out of line.
In what way?
When you decided to call Torres in engineering.
I've worked with her. I know what she's capable of. We needed an answer right away, and I knew she could give us one.
Carey is the senior officer in engineering.
If you look at it that way, none of my people will ever have seniority.
That's the problem. Right there. They're not your people. You're treating the Maquis on this ship like they're still your crew.
I'm doing everything I can to integrate them into your crew, but frankly, you're not making it easy for me, Captain.
Okay.
Surely you can understand that. They don't have the discipline.
Should go more smoothly once I
Some
get
of them,
it
like Belana Torres, have the ability.
back together and on the guitar.
Have worked all their lives to earn their commissions. How am I supposed to ask them to accept a Maquis as their superior officer just because circumstances have forced us together?
You're asking them to accept me.
You're qualified. You're a graduate of the Academy, and you have Starfleet command experience.
Permission to speak freely.
Go ahead.
I have no intention of being your token Maquis officer.
Show me another qualified Maquis candidate, and I'll consider him.
Belana Torres.
Who cannot control herself and who could not make it through the Academy.
She's the best engineer I've ever known. She could teach at the Academy. You're right, Captain. I do consider these my people, because nobody else on this ship will look out for them like I will. And I'm telling you, you're going to have to give them more authority if you want their loyalty.
Theirs? Or yours, Commander?
I'm trying to help you. I'm sorry you don't see that. I strongly recommend you get to know Torres before you choose a new chief engineer. Permission to leave.
Dismissed.
For every act of justice, there is a crime of chaos. For every beautiful maiden,
Oh, no, that's
there
wrong.
is a beastly monster.
Okay.
greed and hatred are running rampant. I don't know what
Okay. Goodness. Alright. Life-shattering ordeal averted. Okay.
As my small business grows,
It wasn't that life-altering. It was life-altering. Oh my goodness. Life-altering.
Introducing the smart new way to simplify your small business finances with a name you can trust. The NetSpend Small Business Prepaid MasterCard.
Okay.
It's the ideal way to keep your business.
I was a little bit aggravated earlier, but
Do not separate your personal
it's okay.
finances from your business expenses. How are you going to even know?
I'm meant to have fun building this guitar. Or doing this guitar, rather.
Is a lot easier.
What I like about this
Meant
is
to have fun,
Track your expenses anywhere with the
not be all
Get text alerts for every transaction.
angry about it. Okay. Springs.
With NetSpend, you can accept more forms of payments, including credit cards.
We'll do the first ones.
And when it's
It
easier
should
for
go
your
smoother.
customers to pay, that's a good thing.
Better to give my
And they should stay in place
when it
now.
comes to payment, so
That was my fault that I had the
And look, with mobile check
springs in.
to load checks with your phone.
Or I had the block
To the bank. And of course,
backwards. Like I say, these blocks really don't have a backwards per se, but it depends on how at the factory they drill these spring retaining holes. Again, sometimes they do them straight, and sometimes they'll do them with a slight curve because the spring has a curve to them. I've seen plenty of ones that were drilled perfectly straight. So, at any rate, it seems to be working now. So, it's all good.
Call now and find out how to get your business name imprinted on your card free. Call 1-800-398-7443
Outside. Make sure I didn't get any scratches or major fingerprints or anything. Again, I want it to look nice.
Computer, activate the emergency medical holographic system.
Please state the nature of the medical emergency.
Actually, there is no emergency. I'm creating a hydroponics bag. I was told you could provide me with some nitrogenated soil.
That's it.
I'm sorry if...
So it begins. The trivia of medicine is my domain now. Every runny
Okay.
nose,
Oh yeah.
pimple on a cheek
Much
becomes
better.
my responsibility.
You are the only doctor we have.
Much better.
I am not just a
Now
doctor.
if I flip it over
Signed with the information from 2,000 medical reference sources
and test it
47 individual medical officers.
by way of
I am the embodiment of
actuating,
medicine.
putting the tremolo arm in and actuating it,
Four samples will be enough.
and making sure the
Now I know how Hippocrates felt when the king needed him to trim
tremolo knife edge is perfectly seated on each adjustment pole. And to do that, you just go like this. Yeah, see, much better.
require a certain sensitivity to properly
Yeah,
adjust
see,
the
it's
nature.
not coming apart on me now. Okay.
I'm talking about you.
Alright, that's all good. No big deal.
I am really
No big deal.
Doctor, has your program altered your appearance since I came to sick bay?
no. Why?
When I first came in, your head was at the same height as this cabinet. But now you're at least 10 centimeters
Okay.
shorter.
Now I gotta decide if I want to put my strings on. And then do my polish of the back, or do I want
Diagnostic on my imaging process
to polish and then do
shows
my...
that I've been reduced in height by 10.4 centimeters. Sick Beta Operations.
Eh.
This is Ken.
Okay.
The holographic projector.
Black is such an unforgiving color. Ugh, shows everything.
We're a little busy right now. We'll get you
Goodness,
as soon as we
alright.
can. It's just that I'm... Seems like a
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and do my polish.
Sorry I bothered you with this.
No trouble at all. Just turn off the program before you leave.
Then I'll probably have to do a final polish once I get the guitar strings on and
I'd just like to know
have done my setup, because, you know, I'll be inadvertently getting my fingerprints on it, so... So... Oh, I was going to show you guys the
Computer and program.
rag after I did the polishing and cleaning of the tremolo. So here it is.
Acknowledged. Mr. Tuvok, lock onto that ship.
You can see it compared to the, white of the rag, which is it's just a sock, actually, an old sock. Actually, old socks or old underwear makes real good polishing class. And yes, I washed the socks and the underwear before I used them as rags. Inevitably, somebody will ask that stupid question. I'll be like, do you use the dirty socks and use the underwear? No. I wash them first. And periodically I'll wash them again, so I can continue to reuse them again. It's like, come on, if you're not going to use dirty used socks and dirty used underwear. Silly troll people who usually say that. It's like, come on, really?
We are going to need some help. Lay in a course for the Illidaria system, full impulse. Have Mr. Neelix report to the bridge. It looks like we're going to follow his suggestion after all.
Okay, so we're doing pretty good now. Had I not put in that block backwards, I'd be done polishing and into my setup by now, but that's okay. No big deal. Not a biggie. It happens.
Have a seat.
Actually hasn't happened to me in probably more than 10 years.
No one blames you for what happened. Commander Chakotay thinks very
But it happened, so.
He's recommended you for chief engineer. Well,
alright. Yeah, that's nice.
Together.
Very good.
Do you think you're ready? Ready? Ready to be chief engineer on the starship. Well, I think I know my way around an engine room, but that's what you mean. It's part of what I mean. There's also the matter of your ability to command others. I'm not sure I'd be doing you a favor by putting you in charge down there.
Yeah, looks pretty good. One little spot right here.
I'm not bothered by what people
It's just a surface scratch.
And the job requires knowledge of Starfleet protocol.
Yeah, I
experience
need
with
to
Starfleet
polish that
methodology.
out, just because it's not past the surface.
If you don't think I'm right for this job, just say
Oh,
so.
yeah, it's already coming out. Sometimes things are just a surface scratch, and you can polish them out. Yeah, it's gone. And some things, once they've gone past the surface, then there's no amount of polishing them out. You might be able to lighten the coloring of the scratch, but that's about as much as one will be able to do. Okay, I think I can actually turn these in a couple of turns
You
now.
had quite a turbulent couple of years, didn't you? Yeah, I guess you could say that. What do you think the problem was? The problem? The problem was a system that didn't give anyone a chance to breathe. We work under that same system on this ship. Then I guess maybe this is just a bad idea.
Oh. And again, I'm probably going to have to polish this guitar
I
twice.
didn't want to have anything to do with Starfleet then.
Once now and then once after I've done my setup. And then I'll take pictures of it. It's supposed to rain for the next 4 days straight. 3 to 4 days. So I won't be able to take pictures of it until probably next week, because tomorrow's already Wednesday. So it'll probably be like, well, I'm not going to be able to take pictures of it.
No, in fact, that is how I
In the rain, I take my pictures outside in the natural sunlight, so.
Shrinking.
There appears to be a malfunction in my imaging system. It's been reducing my height by 5 centimeters every hour. I've been waiting all day for repairs.
So, with that being said,
Over the past 3 hours,
ooh, wow, sides are coming out real nice.
headaches, muscle spasms, and sudden waves of dizziness.
All of this could be related to the quantum singularity.
Very nice.
It was sending out strong spatial distortions. They might have affected the crew. And your systems as well.
If we were in the vicinity of a quantum singularity, I should have been informed.
You're right. I'll look into linking your program into the ship's data.
It looks like we're running into more spatial distortion. I'm picking up a highly localized disturbance off the port valve.
Yeah, I like this guitar. It's pretty cool. Like I said, it's not high end or anything like that. But the guitar doesn't have to be $2,000 before I start liking it. You know, as long as it's a nice piece, and I really don't care, you know. I don't care if it's a $100 guitar, if it's nice. You know, I've got some $200 guitars that are real nice. They're perfectly intonated, perfectly in tune. They play extremely well and got a fast neck on them. But they're a $200 guitar, you know. Just sometimes it's the luck of the draw one gets in a guitar.
You finally retired. This is supposed to be your time to kick back, relax, and live well. What happens if you don't have the financing to support your retirement? Without enough cash flow, what should be the best time of your life can turn into a real financial struggle. But not anymore. Now you can take control of your retirement with tax-free cash to support your lifestyle with a home equity conversion mortgage by Live Well Financial. So how does it work? If you're 62 or older, own your own home, and still pay a mortgage, a home equity conversion mortgage converts your home equity into tax-free cash. So you can lose the burden of mortgage payments and gain the cash to live well. To find out how much you qualify for with an FHA insured
Do the back of the neck and the back of the headstock, and we'll be styling here.
For a free, no-obligation consultation, where we explain your options and send your free customized information.
So I'm going to do the back of the neck and all. Camera for you guys.
While still living in your home. And if you have retired parents, this is your chance to make sure they're looked after. Call this toll-free number now or visit livewell.com today. Imagine never having to worry about money ever again. Book that vacation you've always dreamed of. Take the time to look after your health and well-being. And never miss special occasions like the grandkid's birthday again. All while staying in the comfort of your own home. While your mortgage makes you a regular payment. Find out how much you may qualify for with an FHA-insured home equity conversion mortgage from Live Well Financial. The tax-free cash to enjoy the retirement you deserve. Simply call this toll-free number now or visit livewell.com.
Are you tired of the back-breaking scrub to clean your messy bathroom, toilet, and tub? What you need is the Clorox Scrubtastic Power Scrubber. It's the cordless, rechargeable power scrubber that uses over 300 scrubs per minute to get rid of dirt, grime, and debris quickly and easily. You'll love how your tile shines after the first time you use Scrubtastic. It does all the scrubbing for you, so you don't have to. Clorox Scrubtastic has the power to break down caked on, dried on, rusted on messes. Use Clorox Scrubtastic Power in the shower to erase hard water stains,
I'm going to have
calcium,
to get my
lime, and
little
rust.
stick so I can get in between each
And Scrubtastic makes your tough cleaning job simple.
tuner.
Look how lightweight and easy it is to control.
Again, these tuners aren't very shiny. They're semi-shiny, kind of a little better than a semi-gloss, kind of.
Scrubtastic is rechargeable and
I
easy
don't know
to
why
store.
they didn't
Plus,
just make them
with the extension
shinier,
handle,
but
you can comfortably handle any job high
that's
or
how
low.
they did it.
There's no better powered cleaning tool for stovetops, kitchen sinks, and metal grates than
So since the
Scrubtastic.
four on this side are very close together, it's hard for me to get a rag in between there with just my fingers, so I gotta use my little detail stick.
power scrubbing kit that includes 3 brush heads for any surface, the
out
extension
pretty
handle,
well.
the charger, and storage hook
I'll
for
do
the
the others
special
too,
TV discount price of just $39.99. Order now and we'll even give you free shipping. That's right, free shipping. But to make this the cleanest deal on TV, you can double the offer.
Use the
Just
stick
pay a
again
separate
in a
fee.
minute to
That's
polish
2
it off.
complete Scrubtastic cleaning kits. An incredible value. Your satisfaction is 100% guaranteed. Call or go online now at
Okay, then I need to get another rag so I can hold it from underneath and don't get my fingerprints dirty from the front when I did it. Oh wow. Back of that neck is slick and like glass. Like my dad used to say, it's slicker than a cat's ass. Why he said that is kind of a silly saying, slicker than a cat's ass. And when I got older, I'd make fun of him when he said that, and I would say, how do you know how slick a cat's ass is? And he would laugh. And he said, well, it's just an old saying, that's all. Yeah, it's slicker than a cat's ass.
Warp engines holding steady. All systems report normal.
Yep.
11 million.
Those funny old sayings. I know a lot of those funny old sayings. I could write a book on it. In fact, my brother said I should write a book on those sayings.
Something's really wrong here.
Write a book with all those sayings in it. Yeah.
Confirmed. We're back at the same coordinates. All stop.
Like the saying "Saved by the Bell." That refers to a cemetery funeral saying, where when they used to bury people, they would tie, when they buried them, they would tie a bell to their finger or their toe and put the bell through the ground on a stick and hang the bell on a stick. Because back then, in those old days, sometimes they didn't know if somebody was actually dead and not just like unconscious. So people would wake up in their coffin and go, what's going on? And then they would, flail around, and their finger or their toe would ring that bell. And then the graveyard attendant or watchman would hear a bell ring.
Just remember, Torres. I'm the
Saved by the Bell. That's where that term comes from. Another funeral one is heard old-time gangsters say, it's curtains for you. It's curtains for you. Well, that meant the curtains of a hearse. A hearse has curtains in it. Well, that would mean you're going to die. Curtains for you. Curtains of a hearse.
So, I guess there's been some trouble down in engineering.
So, yeah, I know dozens and dozens of these sayings. Probably hundreds of them, really, actually. These funny old sayings. These funny old terms. Okay. Turn the camera around.
We just hope you're right. Things are bad enough.
Are you all right?
I have this splitting headache.
And we're basically done doing a first polish. I guess I'll wash my hands again. I'll go ahead and start putting the strings on. Start my setup. So, with that said, I'll wash my hands. And we'll start the setup. Boy, it's looking real pretty though. It's looking nice. It is looking nice.
None of it makes any sense. Anyone have anything more constructive?
Shipwide diagnostics of the deal something out of the ordinary.
I tried sending out a tac.
Alright, so I'll be right back.
That was static.
I gotta open this package of strings. So I gotta go cut it open.
Yes. Good. But it won't work. I mean, it was a good idea to try it, but it won't work.
You have another idea?
I was just thinking about the problem with the doctor's holographic projectors. It seems like the spatial distortions might be interfering with the projector's phase alignment.
That was my guess, too.
If that's the case, I could screen out those distortions by setting up a localized damping field around the projectors.
Is our priority here really the medical holograph system?
My point is that if the spatial distortions are also interfering with the transmission we received from the other ship,
We could set up a similar field around our external sensors and communicate with them.
exactly. And they may know more about what's going on than we do.
Let's give it a try. Dismissed.
Emitters online. I'm rerouting the damping field through the deflector grid.
Open a channel to the other ship.
Ramping up field intensity.
It's working. We're cutting through the distortions.
Okay, guys. Now I have to decide how I'm gonna string this guitar. There's several ways to do it.
Compensating for amplitude distortion.
Generally what you do with these is you cut
I'm applying the damping field to our visual scanner. See if I can clarify the image.
the ball end of the string off and you put it in the saddle. And you put it in there, and then you have your opposite cut end. Now some people like to not do that. They like to put the already factory cut end in on this end and save the ball end. I'll show you what the ball end is here in a second. Oh. Let's see. Okay, that is the ball end right there in the center of the screen. Some people like to keep that ball end and loop the string through, starting at the top, and then use the already cut end to put in here. Now in doing that, you have to do a little math and figure how many winds you're going to need around each post, and then how much you need to cut off, because you have to cut some of this off, and you can't cut it too short or you'll only have one wind around your post, or you won't have enough to reach the saddle. You know, it'll fall that short, or it'll be slightly too long. I don't know if, see, this is a 56 gauge, this is a real thick string. I don't know if it's, the ball end is going to fit through the eye, the wrapped end of the ball end. Nope, it doesn't, it stops. I'll show you what I mean here. The ball end, because the end is wrapped starting right about here, it makes it thicker and you can't pull it all the way through. See? So I was originally wanting to do ball end rather than cut end, is what I call it. So at least for this string, I'll have to cut this end off and put this end into the saddle. The other strings I might be able to do ball end, but we'll see. And it's a shame, but it happens.
cut my body fat in half.
So,
The Max Trainer's console guides you through 14 minutes of input. Short bursts of
so I'm gonna have to get my dikes out and
periods of rest. You'll work smarter.
cut the ball end off.
Burning up to 2.5 times the
Really
calories of a
sucks.
workout.
So you just kind of find where the wrap ends, and that's where you make your cut. And again, measure twice, measure once, measure twice, cut once.
Call or go to ordermaxtrainer.com to learn about great deals like 18 months special.
I really hate cutting a new string. It sucks, but that's what you have to do with a Floyd Rose. You have to, unless they're the older kind of Floyd Rose that has a feed through. Some of them have a feed through, and you can just feed the whole thing all the way through. I have some that are like that, but not this one. So, okay. I have to do my measurement now, so that way I only need to make one cut. I don't want to have to cut it on this end and then cut this end. So, I'm going to have to estimate, because this string is so thick, I'm only going to be able to put maybe 2.5 winds on the post, whereas normally I like to do 3. So I'm going to have to measure starting right, turn over, starting right here, down to the string, and then I know how to count winds, so,
And in this case, we'd be staring up at the surface of the event.
well, no matter what, I'm going to have to,
Reflection of ourselves.
I'm going to have to cut it twice, I think. No, wait a minute.
Unfortunately, yes. You're right. It's the only theory that explains everything that's happened to us. We've probably been in this singularity since we felt the first jolt.
Wait a minute, wait a minute. Let me get this straight.
Yeah, let's see.
We were cruising along at warp 7, and we pick up a distress
Shitballs. Okay.
But now, you're saying that the other ship is actually just a reflection of ours, and that the distress call is actually just the captain's opening hail. But we picked up the distress call before she sent the hail.
So I'm going to have to figure
How could we
out...
have been seeing a reflection of something we hadn't even done yet? Am I making any sense here?
No, but that's okay. One of the more difficult concepts to grasp in temporal mechanics is that sometimes effect can precede
So,
cause.
I come up with my amount of winds around the,
Which initiated it.
So what do we do
the
to get
post.
I'm not sure. But I do know one thing. That as we slide deeper into the singularity, the spatial distortions are increasing. According to my calculations, within 9 hours, they'll crush the ship.
If your analogy is correct, how do we get through that sheet
I'm
of
pretty
ice?
good at measuring this,
We'll
so
make a crack. Take something and smack it into
measure
the
twice,
Wait a minute,
cut once.
already made a crack in the ice when we first entered the event horizon. If we could find our entry point, we might be able to slip out where we came in.
So, we'd be looking for a subspace instability in the event horizon. Make it show up on
A
our
little bit
sensors.
less, actually.
Warp
I'm gonna
particles.
do this.
If
Whoop.
we saturate the event horizon with warp particles, we might be able to see them escaping through the rupture we made when we entered. Mr. Cuba, take the main deflector offline. Mr. Kiernan, reroute the port and starboard plasma flow to the main deflector. We can use it to generate a warp field.
Deflectors offline. Initializing plasma flow.
Release the warp particles.
Okay. It's best to, even though you've made your calculation, your mark, give it just a little bit extra, because you can always cut more off, but you can't put more on.
A slight irregularity. It's
So,
a rupture in the event horizon.
there we go.
Put it on screen.
And I'll save this.
It is a
I
rupture,
always
Captain.
do something with these, I don't know what, but we'll do something.
Too small. We must have collapsed as we first got through. Put a wedge in it.
I've cut my first string,
We could try a Dekion beam.
All right.
and I'm pretty confident it's not going to be too short or anything like that, so
Captain, if we get
pretty
too close to the
confident.
rupture, our warp engines might make it collapse even quicker.
Can we emit a beam from here?
The rupture's over 50 million kilometers away. We don't have enough power to project a Dekion beam that far.
We'll have to take a shortcut.
You'll need the best pilot you've got in that shuttle, Captain. That'll be me.
Getting there is the easy part, Mr. Paris. We need someone who's familiar with the finer points of temporal mechanics, and unless you've been hiding your credentials.
So you have to do two things, because the tremolo is all the way back, you can't stick your Allen wrench in there. So you're going to have to do two things at once. You're going to have to hold your string, and then you're going to have to push down on the tremolo. And then the third thing, you're going to have to center. You don't want the string off center. You want it dead center of your
Star Trek Enterprise is coming up next.
saddle.
All Star Trek, right here on H&I.
You want it pushed in all the way too.
Every day, I see men who are desperate, absolutely desperate.
You want to go tight on these, but not so tight that you'll crack these, because again, these aren't stainless steel or anything. You'll crack them in half. So I have to be very careful here.
But now there's Super Beta Prostate P3 Advanced from the makers of the best-selling.
And then take it and then bend it over a little bit.
30-day supply of this non-prescription wonder pill free.
With the ingredients in P3 Advanced, you're going to notice less urges to
String
urinate,
in.
less nighttime bathroom visits, better bladder
And
emptying.
I think this will be pretty
P3
good.
Advanced works.
P3 Advanced merges 3 powerful ingredients. Beta-cytosterol, shown in clinical studies to reduce urges to urinate. Reishi mushroom,
string
to support
winder.
healthy prostate function. And lycopene, which preliminary research suggests may help support healthy prostate size. It's like 3 prostate pills in 1. You would have to take 75 servings of our closest competitor's formula to get the same amount of lycopene in just 1 serving of P3 Advanced.
Having urinary issues creeps up on you, and you start to believe that this is normal. To me, P3 Advanced has been a miracle.
I never believed I'd be on TV talking about my urinary problems. But P3 Advanced works, and that's why I'm here. This is an excellent product.
If there's a non-prescription formula that's going to reduce your frequent bathroom trips, why wouldn't you try it?
If you want a solution that helps reduce urges to urinate, reduce nighttime bathroom trips, and may even help support healthy prostate size, get your free 30-day supply of P3 Advanced.
Call 1-800-394-8816 for a free bottle. Pay shipping and handling.
Usually these strings are pretty stiff, difficult to work with.
Let's get that deck down beam online. Remodulating emitters? Captain, I want to apologize for losing my temper in your ready room.
Dang it. I'm only going to have slightly less than 2 wines around the
I respect your thinking, but he's wrong. I'm not officer material, and we both know it. The truth is, I quit the academy because I realized I couldn't make it in Starfleet. And believe me, no one was sorry to see me go. Professor Chapman was. What? He put a letter in the permanent file, saying that should you ever reapply, he would support you. He was one of the most promising cadets he'd ever taught. I fought with him almost every day. I was always questioning his...
Might break this into a third video, because I don't want to be rushed at this.
I was surprised he didn't help me pack my bag.
Don't want to be rushed. No need to be rushed. Next gauge is
Professor Chapman wasn't alone.
46.
Many of your teachers thought you had the potential to be an outstanding officer. You had more friends at the academy than you realized. We're 15 kilometers from the rupture.
Okay, I'll make my calculation measurement again.
Shields down to 62%. Increase speed. We have to get to that rupture before these spatial distortions tear us apart. Open this hole in the ice a little wider. Initiate the deck down beam.
Alright, there's number 2. Oh boy. Okay. Okay, put my string in. Push down the trim. Hold my string. down to its bottom of the saddle.
Let's get back to voyage.
Position it and tighten. You want it bottomed to the bottom of the saddle, and you want it in the center of the saddle. Watch how tight you're going on these. Okay, bend it down through the top here, and start my winding.
Well, this is a problem. One of them is a temporal reflection. But which one? I'm getting identical readings from both ships. Captain, the rupture is starting to collapse again. If Voyager doesn't get through it within the next 5 minutes, they'll never get out. That means we have one chance to pick the correct ship. Simple choice. Port or starboard? Starboard. The port ship is more likely to be the real one. It's closer to the rupture. That means the holding position is closer.
And again, I'm over-tuning these a little bit because I'm stretching the strings out too. You want to give a little trim down and a little trim up if you can, if it's starting to. So that way you kind of set the string in its place, if you will. Next gauge, 36.
Voyager did move toward the rupture 20 minutes ago when we first discovered it. That's why the port ship is moving toward it now. It's a time-delayed reflection of what we did before. The starboard ship's the real one. They're waiting for us.
Okay, trusty number 36, as it were. Okay, do my calculation and measurement. Put it in the end.
Ready to dock. All right, cut the thrusters.
Oop.
Let's see what happens.
Measure my length to the end of the saddle. Pick the string up.
Feels like real ship to
and
me. Let's get back to the bridge.
Measure out enough. Check my calculation again.
Mr. Paris is about to impress us with his piloting skills.
The rupture's collapsing. It's down to 110 meters wide.
That's too narrow. We're not going to make it.
And
They taught us to always remember that maneuvering a starship is a very delicate process. But over the years, I've learned it sometimes.
next piece.
You just have to punch your way through.
Okay.
Full impulse.
Loosen up. In it goes. Make sure it's bottomed. Loosen this a little more. There we go. Make sure it's bottomed.
Keep it together, Mr. Harris.
Yeah. Come on.
We cleared the event horizon, Captain. We return to normal space.
Sometimes you just have to punch your
Make
way
sure it's
through.
centered, bottomed and centered.
I'll have to remember that.
Start my tightening.
I want to
Again,
get
being
these
very
100 million
careful.
kilometers away from the singularity before we begin repairs.
Okay, bend down into the hole and start my turning.
Start all Star Trek. Star Trek Enterprise. Followed by NYPD Blue. Then The Commitch. All tonight on H&I.
I'm leaving the track behind, but I'm not standing still. And with GoDaddy, I've made my ideas real. I made my own way. Now it's time to make yours.
Like to know how to avoid measuring, working, and bad cuts with your circular saw?
Looks like I'm going to get my 3 lines here on this one.
Cuts split easily without measuring or marking your board.
Oh yeah,
This
beautiful.
one adjusts quickly to your cutting board. It cuts in plywood, fast, easy, accurate every time. Great progress, all done with
And again, I'm not trying to get it an immediate tune because that would be basically impossible to do. So, okay, next gauge. Doing pretty good. 26 is the next gauge.
You may be entitled to significant compensation. Call the Hernia Mesh Legal Helpline now.
Might even finish this tonight. We'll see. We'll see how I feel. My back is starting to hurt, so.
First order of the day. The captain wants the warp drive back online by 1300 hours.
1300? That's impossible.
And maybe you need to go break
See what we see.
Or at least bend a few.
And then we'll see.
Lieutenant?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Put it in the end.
Back up and running. And lock down those flag mobiles. Please.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to make this into 3 videos because I just heard my battery thing go off from my laptop. So, okay.
I know that you're probably
onto the end.
with the quirks of this
Pick it
warp
up.
engine than I am right now.
Pull
I
it.
hope that I can depend on you.
I assure you, you'll never get less than my best.
Make my measurement, make my cut. Grab it.
Welcome aboard.
Loosen the nut. Bolt rather. Bottomed out in the center. It's off center. Oop, no, it's off center.
Are you checking up on your new chief engineer?
Tighten it up a little so it doesn't move around so much.
And?
2 crew members have already filed complaints about her promotion. And she may be in for a tough period of adjustment.
Since this gauge is a little thinner, it's harder to get it centered a little bit. So. Oop, there we go. Perfect. Bottomed out, centered, tighten.
If things had happened differently, and we were on the Marquis ship now instead of Voyager, would you have said it under me?
Push it down.
One of the nice things about
Wind
being
it up.
is that you can keep some things to yourself.
Take me to Captain Janeway.
Go ahead.
Is someone ever going to come down here and fix my holographic projector?
We're a little busy right now, Doctor, but I'll send the crew down as soon as I can.
I would appreciate a certain expediency in a matter.
Acknowledged. Janeway out.
I'm sorry, Lieutenant. Whatever it is, you're going to have to take care of it yourself.
Oh, no, it's just a script. I like to think this way.
See how much battery power I got, guys. I might have to cut this down. Hear that? You do that a little and that'll stretch it out. So we're getting there. We're getting there. Got 3 strings done, so I'm basically half done. I think this is probably a good stopping point for this video. I hate to stop half strung, but there you have it. Been stringing for 2 hours and 35 minutes, so I think that's a good stopping point, and that'll give the these are the wound strings anyway. I think the next gauge is 17. Is that a wound string? Nope. See, it's a solid string. It's not wrapped. So it's actually a good stopping point because that'll give these strings time to stretch overnight. So that's actually a good thing. So I think I will make that my stopping point for this video, and we will continue tomorrow. I'm pretty tired. My back hurts anyway. So. Yeah.
again, thank you for tuning in to this classic guitar video. And again, somebody I'm helping promote is Barato Guitars. Check him out. He's a real nice guy. And we'll continue this tomorrow night and have this all strung up and tuned and all done. So thank you very much, and we'll see you tomorrow.